Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. Here we are on the porch again. Please forgive us. We have two conditions we're concerned with. One is the possible loose asbestos in the temple building, and we're also concerned about the rise in the COVID numbers. So it is just staff here today. There are just 4 of us here today. And we're going to start the service, this weekly service, with the chanting of the Juseige. If you would, please join me in the chanting of the Juseige. Namo Butsu, Namo Dabutsu, Namo Mirabutsu, Namo Dabutsu, Namo Dabutsu, Namo Mirabutsu, Namo Dabutsu. Busatsu, Daimuryo, Jukyo, Juseige, Gagonantro, Segan, Hishimu, Jodo, Shigan, Hu, Mandoku, Seihujyo, Shogak, Ga-o Muryo Ko, Huindai Seishu, Fusaisho Bingu, Seihujyo Shogaku, Ga-shijo Buttendo, Myoshoto Jippo, Kukyo Mishomon, Seihujyo Shogaku, Ryoku Jinchonen Joeishu Bongyo, Shigumu Jodo Isho Teninshi, Jinariki and Daiko Husho Mutaido Shoujo Sankumyo, Kotai Shuyakunan Kaihichi Egen, Meshi Kon Moan, Hei Sokusho Akudo, Tudaten Shumon, Koso Jo Mandoku, Iolo Jippo, Nichigaten Shujuki, Tenko Onhugen, Ishu Kai Hodo, Koseku Dokuho, Yo Odai Shuchu, Saposhi Shiku, Kuyo Isaya Butengu, Sokushu, Tokuhon, Ganesh Yoman, Tokui Sangayo, Nyobuten Mugechi, Tsudaten Mi Husho, Gangaku Erikito. Shisai Shoson, Shiganya Koka Daisen no Kondo, Koku Sho Tenina To Chinmyoke. Namandabu, 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 Namandabu. Ganiya Shikudoku, Byodo Sei Isai. Don Monaishin Ojo On La Koku. Namanda Buddhamanda, Namanda 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 Buddhamanda, Namita Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namada Butsu. Need my book. I will now ask you those who wish to join me in the reading of the 3 treasures. You will have that on your screen. I think it's page 10 on the OCBC book we usually use. And I think some of you can see it on your screen. If you would, please join me in the 3 treasures. How rare and wondrous it is to have been born into human life, and now I live it. How rare and wondrous it is to be able to listen to the Buddha Dharma, and now I am able to hear it. If I do not transcend the world of delusion in this life, when will I ever attain spiritual liberation? May I, along with the entire Sangha, with sincere heart and mind, rely on that which can be truly relied on in life, the 3 treasures. I rely on the Buddha. May I, along with all sentient beings, awaken to the great path with my entire being, and discover the highest aspiration, which is to become a Buddha. I rely on the Dharma. May I, along with all sentient beings, deeply reflect on the meaning of the sutras and gain wisdom that is as deep and vast as the ocean. I rely on the Sangha. May I, along with all sentient beings, become one Sangha of life, able to move forward and live with a dynamic spirit that is hindered by nothing. The unsurpassed, deep, and wondrous Dharma, even in millions of kalpas, is extremely difficult to encounter. And now I am able to experience and embrace it. May I come to understand and revere the true meaning of the Tathagata. Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu. I will now, unaccompanied, sing Ondokusan, unaccompanied by a keyboard. And I'm hoping that our volunteer staff here, who will go unnamed at the time, you know Alan Goto's here with me, and we're not asking Alan to sing. So the other two members who are with me will go unnamed. You may hear them in the background. On a count of three, we are going to do Ondokusan. It's either one or two. I don't know which it is, but 1 and 2. Nyorai dai no ondoku wa miyoko ni shite mo hosu beshi shishu chishiki no ondoku mo hone o kudakite mo sha subeshi. Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Well, again, good morning. Thank you for joining us. We are on the porch again, and we'll be here almost surely again next week, and we're not sure how much longer. I am preparing this Dharma talk for the 9th day of the first month of 2022. And I already have a mistake to correct this year. Last week, I don't know what happened. We dropped one of the names off the Shosuke Hoyo list, so I'm now going to read his name and say the Nembutsu in his honor. I don't know how I managed to drop Johnny Oyama from last week's list. So I'm going to say the Nembutsu in honor of the late Johnny Oyama. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. Johnny grew up here as a child, and we don't want to neglect him. I do sometimes miss names. I really don't know how this happened, because I had it on the list, and I added a name, and then the new electronic list didn't have it. Some kind of mistake on my part. But do let us know if we missed someone who was supposed to be mentioned at our Shosuke Hoyo service, usually the first Sunday of each month. Again, here we are, the second Sunday of January of 2022. And I'm, again, not going to give an overly long talk today. We have various ways of thinking in our religion, various ways of thinking and talking. We have images and envisionings and metaphors and models of thought that we use in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. As, for example, we speak of being waters emptying into an ocean of purity. It's a very important image for Shinran. Interestingly, the same image occurs in the philosopher Nietzsche. There's something suggestive about this image, that all creeks and rivers empty into the ocean. But Shinran's vision, the Buddhist vision, is that that ocean is pure, and my muddy stream empties into it and becomes part of this pure water. We speak in this way. We speak of being enveloped in a soothing and transforming light. We use the metaphor of light, the concept of purity. This morning, I want to focus on the fact that we mix our metaphors a bit. Light, space, the train that's coming. Our awakening to Buddhahood is illumined by a variety of models, metaphors, and images. So We like to use the model of being muddy streams that become of one pure taste entering the pure ocean. This is very central, this image. But that pure ocean is also said to be an ocean of light. Mixing metaphors is bad in poetry and embarrassing in everyday conversations. Rod McEwen's mixing of audio and tactile metaphors in his poem, Listen to the Warm, is not one for the ages. I remember 40 years ago, I was asked to counsel an employee who was often late and sometimes absent. And the manager of the department asked me to talk to her, so I sat down and talked to her. Then I talked to the manager, and the manager says to me, okay, the ball's in her court now, let's see if she runs with it. You know, that image, you picture Serena Williams catching the ball, and she tucks it in her arm, and then where does she run with it, right? I mean, the mixing of the metaphor from tennis and baseball gave a meaningless message and a very funny effect. Try to picture that. The ball's in her court, and is she going to run with it? I don't know. What kind of sport has a court where you run? Nonetheless, our models of thought do become mixed in Mahayana Buddhism. We're trying to pull up something that can't be said so clearly with just one model, just one metaphor, just one image. And for our denominational founder, Shinran Shonin, whose image we have as our central image of reverence this morning, for Shinran Shonin, each of us is like a muddy creek pouring into this crystalline, pure ocean of clean water. It really is like that. Some of you will remember 10 years ago, Portland has a water system that's open. And 10 years ago, this guy went and he peed into the drinking water. And you know what the city of Portland did? They emptied hundreds of thousands of gallons of water because this 30 cc's of urine had been, you know, I understand people's sensibility, but there's no way that anyone could have got sick in that mix. And that's what we're being told. Yeah, is my little creek muddy? You bet it is. Is my stream mixed with greed and foolishness and selfishness and irritability? You bet it is. But it's emptying into this pure, clean ocean, and that is the truth. That is how it is. It really is like that. We cannot defile an ocean of pure light with our piddling little selfish acts. We are illumined, turned from rubble into gold, as Shinran put it, as Taitetsu no repeated. We're illumined and turned from rubble into gold by the Buddha's goodness, which is like light that illumines our lives and brightens our way. The Buddha's surrounding compassion is like a huge body of pure water into which my own petty mistakes flow and disappear. Amida Buddha's enveloping positive influence is also like light. What sort of light? Shinran borrows from the Chinese Pure Land teacher Tanluan and gives 12 descriptions of the light which comes from the Buddha's promise. The light of the Buddha is immeasurable light, cannot be measured. The light is vast beyond our ability to imagine. The light is boundless. The wheel of light of emancipation is boundless. It is an unhindered light. Nothing can stop it. The cluster of light is unhindered like open space. Here's another metaphor, another image. Space is coming in here. It is an unequaled light. Nothing as good as pure. It is a majestically flaming light. It's starting to sound like a Michael Jackson performance. It is a pure light. Doesn't sound like a Michael Jackson performance. It's a pure light. It's a light of joy. The Buddha's light is a light of wisdom, and its effect on us is peace and joy. It is an unceasing light. The Buddha's light shines upon us unceasingly. It is an inconceivable light. All of our concepts and measures pale by comparison to what this illumination truly is. It is an ineffable light, a light that outshines the sun and the moon. More powerful in illumination than anything else we've ever seen. This is what we're being told about the Buddha's light by Tanluan and repeated by our denominational founder, Shinran Shonin. This light, this illumination that flows into our lives does bring warmth and comfort. We say we can hear the light, actually, in Namwa Midabutsu. This is something our tradition says. We can hear the caring of life itself in the simple voicing of Namwa Midabutsu. And here I am mixing up the senses just like Rod McEwen. The problem with that 55-year-old poem of Rod's, Listen to the Warm, is that the object of a sense, hearing, is actually another sense, the tactile sensation of warmth. That's a problem, but the real problem is that McEwen's poem was smarmy, manipulative, excessive, and of questionable sincerity. Kitsch, without the ironic humor that we see in David Bowie, for instance. Today, we have a statue of Shinran Shonin as our central object of reverence. Shinran's writings are not kitsch. Shinran's favorite writer, Tonluan, was not smarmy. I do not mean my comments to be manipulative and overly sentimental, but I do feel caring flowing into my life when I say Namo Amida Butsu. Shinran had complex ways of analyzing our relation to Amida Buddha's fundamental vow of universal liberation, and I will speak with you about those analyses at another time. Today, I roll toward the close of this relatively brief Dharma message and the close of this service as I ask you to allow me to rest on those superlatives that Shinran used to describe the light flowing out of the vow. The light of the Buddha, the illumination, is, again, immeasurable, unequaled, boundless, majestically flaming, unhindered, pure, joyous, wisdom-bestowing, unceasing, inconceivable, ineffable light. And yet, beyond all those hyperbolic, edifying descriptions of the Buddha's illumination, there is our simple need to be at home. Finding our home in the Buddha's vow of universal liberation is what I spoke with you about last week, and it is the point I will close on this week. We can hear the promise of in our own voices and in the voices of our friends, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu. It is the promise of help on the way. There is help on the way. We can find our homes in this promise. In the Buddha's promise to all of us, we can be at home. We can be at peace in the world, at home with our family and our friends. 40 years ago on TV, Karl Malden used to warn us, don't leave home without it. He meant a credit card, and he only said that because somebody paid him to say that. Shinran is telling us, don't leave home at all. Carry your home with you wherever you go. Walk in the light of the promise. Carry the Nembutsu with you as your home, Namo Amida Butsu. You are at home. You are not alone. Stay home. Stay home wherever you go. Your home is a limitless, nurturing, soothing ocean of light. And as we say the Nembutsu, we may realize that we are entering that ocean of light. And in closing, the Dharma message portion, and soon closing the service itself, I will ask you to join me in saying the Nembutsu a few times, saying the Buddha's name. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namita Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Well, thank you very much. I think we're going to move pretty quickly towards closing here. Do check our website. You know, if the COVID infections disappear from the planet next week, we're going to make some changes, but we don't think they're going to. So we're going to be very cautious here. I'm going to be cautious enough to put my mask back on. You'll still be able to hear me in these closing moments, I believe. Please be careful. Please get vaccinated if you have not been. Please wear a mask in public. Please avoid social gatherings when you don't have to be there. And when you're with your friends and your family, wear the masks. Make sure everybody's well. We want to see you again. We want you to walk with us in this ocean of light that we move through. In closing, I will say the Nembutsu. Thank you for joining us today. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei.
You bet. Thank you for coming, Jeannie. Oh.
You know, I realized that there's another stab that has a Buddhist wisteria on it. that fits on top of the, you need a small table because it sits on, the lectern sits on the table. I don't know if you want to, if you're going to keep doing this,